Hello, and welcome to Shakespeare 2020 LA. Shakespeare 2020 LA is the Los Angeles division of Shakespeare Project 2020, a worldwide challenge created by Ian Desher to read the entire Shakespeare canon in 2020. Shakespeare 2020 is comprised of Los Angeles professional actors, including some very special guests from back east. Our reading today is Henry VIII, and our players are Jason Rennie, Christopher Carbo, Taylor Marr, Megan Wells, Ron Dorn, Chris Klein, Sasha Venn, Caitlin McCormick, Ben Birmingham, Emily Redmond Hall, Laura Kovalt, Mark Tracy, Julie Measley Grossman. I'm Mary Carrick. Henry VIII has the distinction of being able to precisely date the performance of June 29th, 1613. On this date, the Globe Theatre, home of Shakespeare's company since 1599, was destroyed by fire. In a letter written by an audience member, Sir Henry Wotton, he details, "Now, to let the matters of the state sleep, I will entertain you at the present of what happened this week at the bank's side. The King's players had a new play called All is True, representing some principal pieces of the reign of Henry VIII, which was set forth with many extraordinary circumstances of pomp and majesty, even to the matting of the stage, the knights of the order with their Georges and garter, the guards with their embroidered coats, and the like. Sufficient in truth within a while to make greatness very familiar, if not ridiculous. Now King Henry making a mask at Cardinal Wolsey's house in certain chambers, a short cannon, being shot off at his entry, some of the paper or other stuff wherewith one of them was stopped, did light on the thatch, where being thought at first but an idle smoke, and their eyes more attentive to the show, it kindled inwardly and ran round like a train, consuming within less than an hour the whole house to the very grounds." The Globe was rebuilt. William Shakespeare died in 1616. His closest friends compiled the first folio in 1623, Henry VIII being the last addition to the treasury. The second Globe was raised in 1644, and the Globe was no more until the collaboration of visionary Sam Wanamaker and architect Theo Crosby, which resulted in the opening in 1996 of Shakespeare's Globe Theatre. Full circle. So wrap yourselves up in your familiar easy chair and enjoy William Shakespeare's Henry VIII.
I come no more to make you laugh. Things now that bear a weighty and serious brow, sad, high, and working, full of state and woe, such noble scenes as draw the eye to flow, we now present. Those that can pity here may, if they think it well, let fall a tear. The subject will deserve it. Such as give their money out of hope that may believe may here find truth too. Those that come to see only a show or two, and so agree the play may pass, if they be still and willing, I'll undertake may see away their shilling richly in 2 short hours. Only they that come to hear a merry, bawdy play, a noise of targets, or to see a fellow in a long motley coat guarded with yellow, will be deceived. For, gentle hearers, know, to rank our chosen truth with such a show as fool and fight is, besides forfeiting our own brains and the opinion that we bring to make that only true we now intend, will leave us never an understanding friend. Therefore, for goodness sake, and as you are known the first and happiest hearers of the town, be sad, as we would make you. Think you see the very persons of our noble story as they were living. Think you see them great, and followed with the general throng and sweat of 1,000 friends. Then, in a moment, see how soon this mightiness meets misery. And if you can be merry then, I'll say a man may weep upon his wedding day.
Act 1, Scene 1, London, an antechamber in the palace. Enter the Duke of Norfolk, the Duke of Buckingham, and the Lord Abergavenny.
Good morrow and well met. How have you done since last we saw in France?
I thank your grace, healthful and ever since a fresh admirer of what I saw there.
An untimely ague stayed me a prisoner in my chamber when those sons of glory, those two lights of men, met in the vale of Andren.
'Twixt Guine and Ard, I was there present, saw them salute on horseback, beheld them when they lighted, how they clung in their embracement as they grew together, which had they, what 4 throned ones could have weighed such a compounded one.
All the whole time I was my chamber's prisoner.
Then you lost the view of earthly glory. Men might say till this time pomp was single, but now married to one above itself. Each following day became the next day's master, till the last made former wonder its. Today the French, all clinket, all in gold, like heathen gods, shone down the English, and tomorrow they made Britain India. Every man that stood showed like a mine. Their dwarfest pages were as cherubims all gilt. The madams too, not used to toil, did almost sweat to bear the pride upon them, that their very labor was to them as a painting. Now this mask was cried incomparable, and the ensuing night made it a fool and beggar. The two kings, equal in luster, were now best, now worse, as presents did present them, him and I, still him in praise. And being present both, 'twas said they saw but one, and no discerner durst wag his tongue in censure. When these sons, for so they praised him, by their heralds challenged the noble spirits to arms, they did perform beyond thought's compassion that former fabulous story, being now seen possible enough, got credit that Bevis was believed.
Oh, you go too far.
As I belong to worship and affect in honor honesty, the tract of everything by a good discourser lose some life which action's self was tongue to. All was royal, to the disposing of it not rebelled. Order gave each thing view, the office did distinctly his full function.
Who did guide? I mean, who set the body and limbs of this great sport together, as you guess?
One certs that promises no element in such a business.
I pray you, who, my lord?
All this was ordered by the good discretion of the Right Reverend Cardinal of York.
The devil speed him. No man's pie is freed from his ambitious finger. What had he to do with these fierce vanities? I wonder that such a Keats can, with his very bulk, take up the rays of the beneficial sun and keep it from the earth.
Surely, sir, there's in him stuff that puts him to these ends. For being not propped by ancestry, whose grace chalks successors their way, nor called upon for high feats done to the crown, neither allied to eminent assistance, but spider-like, out of his self-drawing web he gives us note, the force of his own merit makes his way. A gift that heaven gives for him which buys a place next to the king.
I cannot tell what heaven hath given him. Let some graver eye pierce into that. But I can see his pride peep through each part of him. Whence has he that? If not from hell, the devil is a niggard, or has given all there before, and he begins a new hell in himself.
Why the devil upon this French going out took he upon him, without the privity of the king, to appoint who should attend on him? He makes up the file of all the gentry, for the most part such to whom as great a charge as little honor he meant to lay upon. And his own letter, the honorable board of council out, must fetch him in he papers.
I do know kinsmen of mine, 3 at the least, that have By this so sickened their estates that never they shall abound as formerly.
Oh, many have broke their backs with lame manners on them for this great journey. What did this vanity but minister communications of a most poor issue?
Grievingly, I think, the peace between the French and us not values the cost that did conclude it.
Every man, after the hideous storm that followed, was a thing inspired and, not consulting, broke into a general prophecy that this tempest, dashing the garments of this peace, aboded the sudden breach on't.
Which is budded out, for France hath flawed the league and hath attached our merchants' goods at Bordeaux.
Is it therefore the ambassador is silenced?
Very ist.
A proper title of a peace, and purchased at a superfluous rate.
Why, all this business our reverend cardinal carried.
Like it, your grace, the state takes notice of the private difference betwixt you and the cardinal. I advise you, and take it from a heart that wishes towards you honor and plenteous safety, that you read the cardinal's malice and his potency together, to consider further that what his high hatred would affect once not a minister in his power. You know his nature, that he's revengeful, and I know his sword hath a sharp edge. It's long, and to be said, it reaches far, and where 'twill not extend, thither he darts it. Bosom up my counsel, you'll find it wholesome. Lo, where comes the rock that I advise your shunning?
The Duke of Buckingham surveyor, huh? Where's his examination?
Here, so please you.
Is he in person ready?
Aye, please your grace.
Well, we shall know then more, and Buckingham shall lessen his big look.
This butcher's cur is venom mouth, and I have not the power to muzzle him. Therefore best not waken him in his slumber. A beggar's book outworths a noble's blood.
What, are you chafed? Ask God for temperance. That's the appliance only which your disease requires.
I read in looks matter against me, and his eye reviled me as the abject object. If this instant he bores me with some trick, he's gone to the king, I'll follow and outstare him.
Stay, my lord, and let your reason with your choler question what 'tis you go about. To climb steep hills requires slow pace at first. Anger is like a full hot horse who, being allowed his way, self-mettle tires him. Not a man in England can advise me like you. Be to yourself as you would to your friend.
I'll to the king, and from a mouth of honor, quiet, cry down this Ipswich fellow's insolence, or proclaim there's no difference in no persons.
Be advised. Heat, not a furnace, for your foe so hot that it do singe yourself. We may outrun by violent swiftness that which we run at, and lose by overrunning. The fire that mounts the liquor till it run o'er, in seeming to argue it wastes it. Be advised. I say again, there is no English soul more stronger to direct you than yourself. If with the sap of reason you would quench all but allay the fire of passion.
Sir, I am thankful to you, and I'll go along by your prescription. But this top-proud fellow, whom from the flow of gall I name not, but from sincere motions by intelligence, and proofs as clear as founts in July when we see each grain of gravel, I do know to be a corrupt and treasonous.
Say not treasonous.
To say the king, I'll say it, and make my voucher strong as shore of rock. Attend. This holy fox, or wolf, or both, for he is equal ravenous as he is subtle, and as prone to mischief as able to perform it, his mind and place infecting one another, yea, reciprocally, only to show his pomp as well in France as here at home, suggests the king our master to this last costly treaty. The interview that swallowed so much treasure like a glass did break the regency.
Faith, and so it did.
Pray give me favor, sir. This cunning cardinal, the articles o' the combination drew as himself pleased, and they were ratified as he cried, "Thus let it be," to as much end as to give a crutch to the dead. But our Count Cardinal has done this, and 'tis well for worthy Wolsey, who cannot err, he did it. Now this follows, which, as I take it as a kind of puppy to the old damned treason, Charles the Emperor, under pretense to see the Queen, his aunt, for 'twas indeed his color, but he came to whisper Wolsey, here makes visitation. His fears were that the interview betwixt England and France might, through their amity, breed him some prejudice for this league peeped harms that menaced him, privily deals with our cardinals, and, as I trow, which I do well, for I am sure the emperor paid ere he promised, whereby his suit was granted ere it was asked. But when the way was made and paved with gold, the emperor thus desired that he would please to alter the king's course and break the foresaid peace. Let the king know, as soon as he shall by me, that thus the cardinal does buy and sell his honor as he pleases and for his own advantage.
I am sorry to hear this of him, but could wish you were something mistaken in it.
No, not a syllable. I do pronounce him in that very shape he shall appear in proof.
Your office, Sergeant. Execute it.
Sir, my lord the Duke of Buckingham and Earl of Hertford, Stafford, and Northampton, I arrest thee of high treason in the name of our most sovereign king.
Lo, you, my lord, the net has fallen upon me. I shall perish under device and practice.
I am sorry to see you ta'en from liberty to look on the business present. 'Tis his highness' pleasure, you shall to the Tower.
It will help me nothing to plead mine innocence, for that dye is on me which makes my whitest part black. The will of heaven be done. In this and all things, I obey. My lord Abergavenny, fare you well.
Nay, he must bear you company. The king is pleased you shall to the Tower, till you know how he determines further.
As the Duke said, the will of heaven be done, and the king's pleasure be by me obeyed.
Here is a warrant from the king to attach Lord Montacute and the bodies of the Duke's confessor, John de la Carre, one Gilbert Peck, his counselor.
These are the limbs of the plot. No more, I hope.
A monk of the Chartreuse.
Oh, Michael Hopkins?
He.
My surveyor is false? The old great cardinal hath showed him gold. My life is spanned already. I am the shadow of poor Buckingham, whose figure even this instant clouds put on by darkening my clear sun. My lord, farewell.
Act 1, Scene 2, the King's Council Chamber. Enter King Henry, Cardinal Wolsey with his secretary, and Sir Thomas Lovell.
My life itself, and the best heart of it, thanks you for this great care. I stood at the level of a full-charged confederacy, and give thanks to you that choked it. Let me call before us that gentleman of Buckingham's. In person I'll hear him his confessions justify, and point by point the treasons of his master he shall again relate.
Room for the Queen!
Nay, we must longer kneel. I am a suitor.
arise and take place by us. Half your suit never named to us. You have half our power. The other moiety you ask is given. Repeat your will, and take it.
Beg your majesty, that you would love yourself, and in that love, not unconsidered, leave your honor, nor the dignity of your office is the point of my petition.
Lady mine, proceed.
I am solicited not by a few, and those of true condition, that your subjects are in great grievance. There have been commissions sent down among them, which hath flawed the heart of all their loyalties, wherein, although, my good Lord Cardinal, they vent reproaches most bitterly on you as putter on of these exactions, yet the king, our master, whose honor heaven shield from soil, e'en he escapes not language unmannerly, yea, such which breaks the sides of loyalty and almost appears in loud rebellion.
Not almost appears, it doth appear. For upon these taxation, the clothiers all, not able to maintain the many to them longing, have put off the spinsters, carters, fullers, weavers, who, unfit for other life, compelled by hunger, and lack of other means, in desperate manner, daring the event in the teeth, are all in uproar, and danger serves among them.
Taxation? Wherein? And what taxation? My Lord Cardinal, you that are blamed for it alike with us, know you of this taxation?
Please you, sir, I know but of a single part in aught pertains to the state, and front but in that file where others tell steps with me.
No, my lord, you know no more than others, but you frame things that are known alike, which are not wholesome to those which would not know them, and yet must perforce by their acquaintance. These exactions whereof my sovereign would have note, they are most pestilent to the hearing, and to bear 'em, the back is sacrificed to the load. They say they are devised by you, or else you suffer too hard an exclamation.
Still, exaction! The nature of it? And what kind, let's know, is this exaction?
I am much too venturous in tempting of your patience, but am boldened under your promised pardon. The subject's grief comes through commissions which compels from each the sixth part of his substance to be levied without delay, and the pretense for this is named your wars in France. This makes bold mouths, tongues spit their duties out, and cold hearts freeze allegiance in them. Their curses now live where their prayers did, and it's come to pass this tractable obedience is a slave to each insensate will. I would your highness would give it quick consideration, for there is no primer baseness.
By my life, this is against our pleasure.
And for me, I have no further gone in this than by a single voice, and that not past me, but by learned approbation of the judges. If I am traduced by ignorant tongues, which neither know my faculties nor person, yet will be the chronicles of my doing, let me say 'tis but the fate of place, and the rough break that virtue must go through. We must not stint our necessary actions in the fear to cope malicious censurers, which ever as ravenous fishes do a vessel follow that is new trimmed, but benefit no further than vainly longing. What we oft do best by sick interpreters, once weak ones, is not ours or not allowed. What worst, as oft hitting a grosser quality, is cried up for our best act. If we shall stand still in fear our motion will be mocked or carped at, we should take root here where we sit, or sit state statues only.
Things done well, and with a care, exempt themselves from fear. Things done without example in their issue are to be feared. Have you a precedent of this commission? I believe not any. We must not rend our subjects from our laws and stick them in our will. Sixth part of each, a trembling contribution. Why, we take from every tree lop, bark, and part of the timber, and though we leave it with a root, thus hacked, the air will drink the sap. To every county where this is questioned, send our letters with free pardon to each man that has denied the force of this commission. Pray look to it. I put it to your care.
A word with you. Let there be letters writ to every shire of the king's grace and pardon. We the commons hardly conceive of me. Let it be noised that through our intercession this revokement and pardon comes. I shall anon advise you further in the proceeding.
I am sorry that the Duke of Buckingham is run in your displeasure.
It grieves many. The gentleman is learned and a most rare speaker, to nature, none more bound. His training such that he may furnish and instruct great teachers and never seek for aid out of himself. Yet see, when these so noble benefits shall prove not well disposed, the mind growing once corrupt, they turn to vicious forms 10 times more ugly than ever they were fair. This man, so complete, who was enrolled mongst wonders, and where he almost with ravished listening could not find his hour of speech a minute, he, my lady, hath into monstrous habits put the graces that once were his, and is become as black as if besmeared in hell. Sit by us, you shall hear. This was his gentleman in trust. Of him things to strike honor sad. Bid him recount the full recited practices whereof we cannot feel too little, hear too much.
Stand forth, and with bold spirit relate what you, most like a careful subject, have collected out of the Duke of Buckingham.
Speak freely.
First, it was unusual with him. Every day it would infect his speech that if the king should without issue die, he'll carry it so to make the scepter his. These very words I have heard him utter to his son-in-law, Lord Abergavenny, to whom by oath he menaced revenge upon the cardinal.
Please, your highness, note this dangerous conception in this point. Not friended by his wish to your high person, his will is most malignant, and it stretches beyond you to your friends.
My learned Lord Cardinal, deliver all with charity.
Speak on. How grounded he his title to the crown upon our fail? To this point hast thou heard him at any time speak aught?
He was brought to this by vain prophecy of Nicholas Henton.
What was that, Henton?
Sir, a Chartreux friar, his confessor, who fed him every minute with words of sovereignty.
How knowest thou this?
Not long before your highness sped to France, the Duke being at the Rose within the parish, Sir Lawrence Pulteney did of me demand what the speech among the Londoners concerning the French journey. I replied, men fear the French would prove perfidious to the king's danger. Presently the Duke said 'twas the fear indeed, and that he doubted 'twould prove the verity of certain words spoke by a holy monk, that oft, says he, hath sent to me, wishing me to permit John de la Carre, my chaplain, a choice hour to hear from him a matter of some moment, whom after some of the confession seal, he solemnly had sworn that what he spoke my chaplain to no creature living but to me should utter. With demure confidence, this pausingly ensued. Neither the king nor his heirs tell you the Duke shall prosper. Bid him strive to gain the loved or the commonality. The Duke shall govern England.
If I know you well, you were the Duke's surveyor and lost your office on the complaint of the tenants. Take good heed. You charge not in your spleen a noble person, and spoil your nobler soul, I say. Take heed. Yes, heartily beseech you.
Let him on. Go forward.
Oh, my soul, I'll speak but the truth. I told my lord the Duke, by the devil's illusions, the monk might be deceived, and that 'twas dangerous for him to ruminate on this so far until it forged him some design, which, being believed, it was much like to do. He answered, tush, it can do me no damage. Adding further that had the king in his last sickness failed, the cardinal and Sir Thomas Lovell's heads should have gone off.
Ah! What? So rank! Ha ha ha! There's mischief in this man. Canst thou say further?
I can, my liege.
Proceed.
Being at Greenwich, after your highness had reproved the duke about Sir William Bloomer.
I remember of such a time, being my sworn servant, the duke retained him his. But on, what hence?
If, quoth he, I for this had been committed, as to the tower, I thought, I would have played the part of my father, meant to act upon the usurper Richard, who, being at Salisbury, made suit to come in his presence, which, if granted, as he made semblance of his duty, would have put his knife into him.
A giant traitor!
Now, madam, may his highness live in freedom, and this man out of prison.
God amend all.
There's something more, wood of thee. What sayest?
After the duke, his father, with the knife, he stretched him, and with one hand on his dagger, another spread on his breast, mounted his eyes. He did discharge a horrible oath, whose tenor was, were he evil used, he would outgo his father by as much as a performance does an irresolute purpose.
There's his period to sheath his knife in us. He is attached. Call him to present trial. If he may find mercy in the law, 'tis his. If none, let him not seek of us. By day and night he's traitor to the height.
Act 1, Scene 3, London, an antechamber in the palace. Enter Lord Chamberlain and Lord Sands.
Is it possible the spells of France should juggle men into such strange mysteries?
New customs, though they never be so ridiculous, nay, let them be unmanly, yet are followed.
As far as I can see, all the good our English have got by the late voyage is but merely a fit or two of the face. But they are shrewd ones, for when they hold them, you would swear directly their very noses had been counselors to Pepin or Clotarius. They keep state so.
They have all new legs and lame ones, would take it, that ne'er see 'em pace before, the spaven or the spring-hog reigned among 'em.
Death! My lord, their clothes are after such a pagan cut to it that sure they've worn out Christendom. Oh now, what news, Sir Thomas Lovell?
Faith, my lord, I hear of none but the new proclamation that's clapped upon the court gate.
What is't for?
The reformation of our travelled gallants that fill the court with quarrels, talk, and tailors.
I'm glad 'tis there. Now we pray our monsieurs to think an English courtier may be wise and never see the Louvre.
They must either, for so run the conditions, leave those remnants of fool and feather that they got in France, with all their honorable points of ignorance pertaining thereunto, as fights and fireworks, abusing better men than they can be out of a foreign wisdom, renouncing clean the faith they have in tennis and tall stockings, short blistered breeches, and those types of travel, and understand again like honest men, or back to their old playfellows. There, I take it, they may cum privilegio away the lag end of their lewdness and be laughed at.
'Tis time to give 'em physic. Their diseases are grown so catching.
What a loss our ladies will have of these trim vanities.
Aye, marry, there will be woe indeed, lords. The sly horsens have got a speeding trick to lay down ladies. A French song and a fiddle has no fellow.
The devil fiddle 'em. I'm glad they're going, for sure there's no converting of 'em. Now, an honest country lord, as I am, beaten a long time out of play, may bring his place on and have an hour of hearing, and by your lady held to current music too.
Well said, Lord Sands. Your colt's tooth is not cast yet?
No, my lord, nor shall I, not while I have a stump.
Sir Thomas, whither were you a-going?
To the cardinal's. Your lordship is a guest too.
Oh, 'tis true. This night he makes a supper, and a great one, to many lords and ladies. There will be the beauty of this kingdom, I'll assure you.
That churchman bears a bounteous mind indeed, a hand as fruitful as the lamb that feeds us. His dews fall everywhere.
No doubt he's noble. He had a black mouth that said other of him.
He may, my lord, has wherewithal in him sparring would show a worse sin than ill doctrine. Men of his way should be most liberal. They are set here for examples.
True, they are so, but few now give so great ones. My barge stays, your lordship shall along. Come, good Sir Thomas, we shall be late else, which I would not be, for I was spoke to with Sir Henry Guilford this tonight to be controllers.
I am your lordship's.
Act 1, Scene 4. A hall in York Place. Enter Anne Bullen, with other guests, and Sir Henry Guilford. Ladies, a general welcome from his grace salutes you all. This night he dedicates to fair content, and you. None here, he hopes, in all this noble bevy has brought with her one care abroad. He would have all as merry as first good company, good wine, good welcome can make good people. Oh, my lord, you're tardy. The very thought of this fair company clapped wings to me.
You are young, Sir Harry Guilford.
Sir Thomas Lovell had the cardinal but half my lay thoughts in him. Some of these should find a running banquet ere they rested. I would think better please 'em, by my life. They are a sweet society.
Oh, that your lordship were but now confessor to one or two of these.
I would I were. They should find easy penance.
Faith, how easy.
As easy as a down bed would afford it.
Sweet ladies, will it please you sit? Sir Harry, place you that side. I'll take the charge of this. His Grace is entering. Nay, you must not freeze. 2 women placed together makes cold weather. My Lord Sands, you are one will keep him waking. Pray sit between these ladies.
By my faith, and thank your lordship. By your leave, sweet ladies. If I chance to talk a little wild, forgive me. I had it from my father.
Was he mad, sir?
Oh, very mad, exceeding mad, in love too. But he would bite none, just as I do now. He would kiss you a 20 breath.
Well said, my lord. So, now you're fairly seated, gentlemen. The penance lies on you if these fair ladies pass away frowning.
For my little cure, let me alone.
You're welcome, my fair guests. That noble lady or gentleman that does not freely marry is not my friend. This is to confirm my welcome, and to you all, good health.
Your grace is noble. Let me have such a bowl may hold many thanks and save me so much talking.
My Lord Sands, I am beholding to you. Cheer your neighbors. Ladies, you are not merry. Gentlemen, whose fault is this?
The red wine must rise in their fair cheeks, my lord. Then we shall have 'em talk us to silence.
You are a merry gamester, my lord Sands.
Yes. If I make my play, here's to your ladyship, and I pledge it, madam. For 'tis such a thing.
You cannot show me.
I was told, your grace, they would talk anon.
What's that?
Look out there, some of you.
What warlike voice, and to what end is this? Nay, ladies, fear not. By all the laws of war, you're privileged.
How now, what is't?
A noble troop of strangers, for so they seem. They've left their barge and landed, and hither make, as great ambassadors from foreign princes.
Good Lord Chamberlain, go give 'em welcome. You can speak the French tongue. And pray receive 'em nobly, and conduct 'em into our presence, where this heaven of beauty shall shine it full upon them. Some attend him. You have now a broken banquet, but we'll mend it. A good digestion to you all, and once more I shower a welcome on you. Welcome all. A noble company. What are their pleasures?
Because they speak no English, thus they pray to tell your grace, that having heard by fame of this so noble and so fair assembly this night to meet here, they could do no less, out of the great respect they bear to beauty, but leave their flocks, and under your fair conduct, crave leave to view these ladies, and entreat an hour of revels with them.
Say, Lord Chamberlain, they have done my poor house grace, for which I pay 'em 1,000 thanks, and pray 'em take their pleasures.
The fairest hand I ever touched. O beauty, till now I never knew thee.
My lord,
Your grace?
pray tell 'em thus much from me. There should be one amongst them by his person more worthy to this place than myself, to whom, if I but knew him, with my love and duty I would surrender it.
I will, my lord.
What say they?
Such a one, they all confess there is indeed, which they would have your grace find out, and he will take it.
Let me see then. By all your good leaves, gentlemen, here I'll make my royal choice.
You have found him, Cardinal. You hold a fair assembly. You do well, Lord. You are a churchman, or I'll tell you, Cardinal, I should judge now unhappily.
I am glad your grace is grown so pleasant.
My Lord Chamberlain, prithee come hither. What fair lady's that?
And please your grace, Sir Thomas Bullen's daughter, the Viscount Rochford, one of her highness women.
By heaven, she is a dainty one. Sweetheart, I were unmannerly to take you out and not to kiss you. A health, gentlemen! Let it go round!
Sir Thomas Lovell, is the banquet ready in the privy chamber?
Yes, my lord.
Your grace, I fear, with dancing is a little heated.
I fear too much.
There's fresher air, my lord, in the next chamber.
Lead in your ladies, every one. Sweet partner, I must not yet forsake you. Let's be merry, good my Lord Cardinal. I have half a dozen healths to drink to these fair ladies, and a measure to lead 'em once again, and then let's dream who's best in favor. Let the music knock it.
Act 2, Scene 1. A street in Westminster. Enter two gentlemen.
Whither away so fast?
Oh, God save you. Into the hall to hear what shall become of the great Duke of Buckingham.
I'll save you that labor, sir. All's now done but the ceremony of bringing back the prisoner.
Were you there?
Yes, indeed was I.
Pray speak what has happened.
You may guess it quickly.
Is he found guilty?
Yes, truly he is, and condemned upon it.
I am sorry for it.
So are a number more.
But pray, how passed it?
I'll tell you in a little. The great Duke came to the bar where to his accusations he pleaded still not guilty and alleged many sharp reasons to defend the law. The king's attorney, on the contrary, urged on the examinations proofs, confessions of divers witnesses, which the Duke desired to him brought viva voce to his face. At which appeared against him his surveyor, Sir Gilbert Peck, his chancellor, and John Carr, confessor to him with that devil monk, Hopkins, that made this mischief.
That was he that fed him with the prophecies?
Same. All these accused him strongly, which he fain would have flung from him, but instead he could not. And so his peers, upon this evidence, having found him guilty of high treason, much he spoke and learnedly for life, but all was either pitied in him or forgotten.
After all this, how did he bear himself?
When he was brought again to the bar to hear his knell rung out, his judgment, he was stirred with such an agony. He sweat extremely, and something spoke in choler, ill and hasty. But he fell to himself again, and sweetly, and all the rest showed a most notable patience.
I do not think he fears death.
Sure he does not. He never was so womanish. The cause he may a little grieve at.
Certainly the cardinal is in the end of this.
Is likely, by all conjectures. First, Kildare's attender, then Deputy of Ireland, who, removed, Earl Surrey was sent thither, and in haste too, lest he should help his father.
The trick of state was a deep envious one.
At his return, no doubt he will requite it. This is noted, and generally, whoever the king favors, the cardinal instantly will find employment, and far enough from the court too.
All the commons hate him perniciously, and on my conscience, wish him 10 fathoms deep. This duke as much they love and dote on, call him bounty as Buckingham, the mirror of all courtesy.
Stay there, sir, and see the noble ruined men you speak of.
Let's stand close and behold him.
All good people, you that thus far have come to pity me, hear what I say, and then go home and lose me. I have this day received a traitor's judgment, and by that name must die. Yet heaven bear witness. As if I have a conscience, let it sink me, even as the axe fall, if I be not faithful. The law, I bear no malice for my death. 'T'has done upon the premises but justice. But those that sought it, I could wish more Christian. Be what they will, I heartily forgive them. Yet let them look, they glory not in mischief, nor build their evils on the graves of great men. For then my guiltless blood must cry against them. For further life in this world I ne'er hope, nor will I sue, although the king have mercies more than I dare make faults. You few that loved me and dared to bold to weep for Buckingham, his noble friends and fellows whom to leave is only bitter to him, only dying. Go with me like good angels to my end, and as the long divorce of steel falls on me, make of your prayers one sweet sacrifice, and lift my soul to heaven. Lead on in God's name.
I do beseech your grace for charity, if ever any malice in your heart were hid against me now, to forgive me frankly.
Sir Thomas Lovell, I as free forgive you as I would be forgiven. I forgive all. There cannot be those numberless offenses against me that I cannot take peace with. No black envy shall make my grave. Commend me to his grace. And if he speak of Buckingham, pray tell him you met me half in heaven. My vows and prayers yet are the king's, and till my soul forsake, shall cry for blessings on him. May he live longer than I have time to tell his years, ever beloved and loving by his rule be.
To the waterside I must conduct your grace, then give my charge up to Sir Nicholas Vaux, who undertakes you to your end.
Prepare there, the Duke is coming. See the barge be ready, and fit it with such furniture as suits the greatness of his person.
Nay, Sir Nicholas, let it alone. My state now will but mock me. When I came hither, I was Lord High Constable, the Duke of Buckingham, now poor Edward Bone. Yet I am richer than my base accusers that never knew what truth meant. Now I seal it, and with that blood will make them one day grown foot. My noble father, Henry of Buckingham, who first raised head against usurping Richard, flying for succor to his servant Bannister, being distressed, was by that wretch betrayed, and without trial fell. God's peace be with him. Henry the Seventh succeeding, truly pitying my father's loss, like a most royal prince restored me my honors, and out of ruins made my name once more noble. Now his son, Henry VIII, life, honor, name, and all that made me happy at one stroke has taken forever from this world. I had my trial and must needs say a noble one, which makes me a little happier than my wretched father. Yet thus far we are one in fortunes. Both fell by our servants, by those men we most love. A most unnatural and faithful service. Heaven has an end in all. Yet, you that hear me, this from a dying man receive is certain. Where you are liberal of your loves and counsels, be sure, be not loose. For those you make friends and give your hearts to, when they once perceive the least rub in your fortunes, fall away like water from you, never found again, but where they mean to sink you. All good people, pray for me. I must now forsake you. The last hour of my long, weary life is come upon me. Farewell, and when you would say something that is sad, speak how I fell. I have done, and God forgive me.
Oh, this is full of pity, sir. It calls, I fear, too many curses on their heads that were the authors.
If the Duke be guiltless, 'tis full of woe. Yet I can give you inkling of an ensuing evil if it fall greater than this.
Good angels keep it from us. What may it be? You do not doubt my faith, sir.
This secret is so weighty, 'twill require a strong faith to conceal it.
Let me have it. I do not talk much.
I am confident you shall, sir. Did you not of late days hear a buzzing of a separation between the king and Catherine?
Yes, but it held not. For when the king once heard it, out of anger, he sent command to the Lord Mayor straight to stop the rumor and ally those tongues that durst disperse it.
But that slander, sir, is found a truth now. For it grows again fresher than ere it was, and held for certain the king will venture at it. Either the cardinal or some about him near have, out of malice to the good queen, possessed him with a scruple that will undo her. To confirm this too, Cardinal Campius is arrived, and lately, as all think for this business.
Is the cardinal, and merely to revenge him on the emperor for not bestowing on him at his asking the Archbishop of Toledo this is purposed.
I think you have hit the mark. But is it not cruel that she should make feel the smart of this? The cardinal will have his will, and she must fall.
'Tis woeful. We are too open here to argue this. Let's think in private more.
Act 2, Scene 2. An antechamber in the palace. Enter Lord Chamberlain, reading a letter.
My lord, the horses your lordship sent for, with all the care I had, I saw well chosen, ridden, and furnished. They were young and handsome, and of the best breed in the north. When they were ready to set out for London, a man of my lord cardinal's, by commission and main power, took 'em from me with this reason. His master would be served before a subject, if not before the king, which stopped our mouths, sir. I fear he will indeed. Well, let him have them. He will have all, I think.
Well met, my Lord Chamberlain.
Good day to both your graces.
How is the king employed?
I left him private, full of sad thoughts and troubles.
What's the cause?
It seems the marriage with his brother's wife has crept too near his conscience.
No, his conscience has crept too near another lady.
'Tis so. This is the cardinal's doing. The king cardinal, that blind priest, like the eldest son of fortune, turns what he lists. The king will know him one day.
Pray God he do. He'll never know himself else.
How wholly he works in all his business, and with what zeal. For now he has cracked the league between us and the emperor, the queen's great nephew. He dives into the king's soul, and there scatters dangers, doubts, wringing of the conscience, fears and despairs, and all these for his marriage. And out of these, to restore the king, he counsels a divorce, a loss of her that like a jewel has hung 20 years about his neck, yet never lost her luster, of her that loves him with that excellence that angels love good men with, even of her that, with the greatest stroke of fortune falls, will bless the king. And is not this course pious?
Heaven keep me from such counsel. It is most true. These news are everywhere. Every tongue speaks them, and every true heart weeps for it. All that dare look into these affairs see this main end. The French king's sister. Heaven will one day open the king's eyes that so long have supped upon this bold, bad man.
And free us from his slavery.
Had need pray, and heartily from our deliverance of this imperious man will work us all from princes into pages. All men's honors lie like one lump before him, to be fashioned into what pitch he please.
For me, my lords, I love him not, nor fear him not. There's my creed. As I am made without him, so I'll stand if the king please. His curses and his blessings touch me alike. Their breath I do not believe in. I knew him, and I know him. So I love him, to him that made him proud, the Pope.
Let's in, and with some other business put the king from these sad thoughts that work too much upon him. My lord, you'll bear us company?
Excuse me, the king has sent me otherwhere. Besides, you'll find a most unfit time to disturb him. Health to your lordships.
Thanks, my good lord Chamberlain.
How sad he looks. Sure he is much afflicted.
Who's there? Huh?
Thank God he be not angry.
Who's there, I say? How dare you thrust yourselves into my private meditations? Who am I, huh?
A gracious king that pardons all offenses malice ne'er meant. Our breach of duty this way is business of a state in which we come to know your royal pleasure.
You are too bold. Go to. I'll make you know your times of business. Is this an hour for temporal affairs, huh? Who's there? My good Lord Cardinal. Oh, my Wolsey, the quiet of my wounded conscience, thou art a cure fit for a king. You're welcome, most learned reverend sir, into our kingdom. Use us and it. My good lord, have great care I be not found a talker.
Sir, you cannot. I would your grace would give us but an hour of private conference.
We are busy. Go.
This priest has no pride in him.
Not to speak of. I would not be so sick, though, for his place, but this cannot continue.
If it do, I'll venture one have at him.
I another.
Your grace has given a precedent of wisdom above all princes in committing freely your scruple to the voice of Christendom. Who can be angry now? What envy reach you? The Spaniard, tied by blood and favor to her, must now confess, if they have any goodness, the trial just and noble. All the clerks, I mean the learned ones in Christian kingdoms, have their free voices. Rome, the nurse of judgment, invited by your noble self, had sent our general tongue unto us, this good man, this just and learned priest, Cardinal Pompeius, whom once more I present unto your highness.
And once more in mine arms I bid him welcome, and thank the holy conclave for their loves. They sent me such a man I would have wished for.
Your grace must needs deserve all strangers' loves, you are so noble. To your highness's hand I tender my commission, by whose virtue the court of Rome, commanding you, my lord Cardinal of York, are joined with me, their servant, in the impartial judging of this business.
2 equal men. The queen shall be acquainted forthwith for what you come. Where's Gardiner?
I know your majesty has always loved her so dear in heart, not to deny her that a woman of less place might ask by law. Scholars allowed freely to argue for her.
Aye, and the best she shall have, and my favour to him that does best. God forbid else. Cardinal, prithee call Gardiner to me, my new secretary. I find him a fit fellow.
Give me your hand. Much joy and favour to you, who are the kings now.
But to be commanded forever by your grace, his hand has raised me.
Come hither, Gardiner.
My lord of York, was not one Dr. Pace in this man's place before him?
Yes, he was.
Was he a learned man?
Yes, surely.
Believe me, there's an ill opinion spread then, even of yourself, Lord Cardinal.
How? Of me?
They will not stick to say you envied him, and fearing he would rise, he was so virtuous, kept him a foreign man still, which so grieved him that he ran mad and died.
Heaven's peace be with him. That's Christian care enough. For living murmurers, there's place of rebuke. He was a fool, for he would needs be virtuous. That good fellow, if I command him, follows my appointment. I will have none so near else. Learn this, brother, we live not to be griped by meaner persons.
Deliver this with modesty to the queen. The most convenient place that I can think of for such receipt of learning is Blackfriars. There you shall meet about this weighty business. Oh, my Wolsey, see it furnished. Oh, my lord, would it not grieve an able man to leave so sweet a bedfellow? But conscience! Conscience! Oh! 'Tis a tender place, and I must leave her.
Act 2, Scene 3. An antechamber of the Queen's apartments. Enter Anne Boleyn and an old lady.
Not for that neither. Here's the pang that pinches. His Highness having lived so long with her, and she so good a lady that no tongue could ever pronounce dishonor of her. By my life, she never knew harm doing. Oh, now, after so many courses of the sun enthroned, still growing in majesty and pomp, the which to leave 1,000-fold more bitter than 'tis sweet to first acquire, after this process, to give her the avant, it is a pity would move a monster.
Hearts of most hard temper melt in lament for her.
Oh, God's will. Much better she ne'er had known pomp. Though it be temporal, yet if that quarrel fortune do divorce it from the bearer, 'tis a sufferance panging as soul and body severing.
Alas, poor lady, she's a stranger now again.
So much the more must pity drop upon her. Verily, I swear, 'tis better to be lowly born and range with humble livers in content than to be perked up in a glistening grief and wear a golden sorrow.
Our content is our best having.
By my troth and maidenhead, I would not be a queen.
Through me, I would, and venture maidenhead for it, and so would you. For all the spice of your hypocrisy, you who have so fair parts of woman on you, have too a woman's heart, which ever yet affected eminence, wealth, sovereignty, which to say sooth are blessings, and which gifts, saving your mincing, the capacity of your soft cheveril conscience would receive, if you might please to stretch it.
Nay, good troth.
Yes, troth and troth. You would not be a queen?
No, not for all the riches under heaven.
That is strange. A threepence bode would hire me, old as I am, to queen it. But I pray you, what think you of a duchess? Have you limbs to bear the load of title?
No, in truth.
Oh, then you are weakly made. Pluck off a little. I would not be a young count in your way for more than blushing comes to. If your back cannot vouchsafe this burden, 'tis too weak even to get a boy.
You do talk. Swear again, I would not be a queen for all the world.
Oh, in faith, for little England, you'd venture in embalming. I myself would for Carvanishore, although there long no more to the crown but that, lo, who comes here?
Good morrow, ladies. What were it worth to know the secret of your conference?
My good lord, not your demand. It values not your asking. Our mistress's sorrows we were pitying.
It was a gentle business, and becoming the action of good women. There is hope all will be well.
Now I pray God, amen.
You bear a gentle mind, and heavenly blessings follow such creatures. That you may, fair lady, perceive I speak sincerely, and high notes ta'en of your many virtues, the king's majesty commends his good opinion of you, and does purpose honor to you no less flowing than Marchioness of Pembroke, to which title £1,000 a year annual support out of his grace he adds.
I do not know what kind of my obedience I should tender. More than my all is nothing, nor my prayers are not words duly hallowed, nor my wishes more worth than empty vanities. Yet prayers and wishes are all I can return. Beseech your lordship, vouchsafe to speak my thanks and my obedience as from a blushing handmaid to his highness, whose health and royalty I pray for.
Lady, I shall not fail to prove the fair conceit the king hath of you. I have perused her well. Beauty and honor in her are so mingled that they have caught the king. And who knows yet but from this lady may proceed a gem to lighten all this isle? I'll to the king, and say I spoke with you.
My honored lord.
Why, this is it! See? I have been begging 16 years in court, and yet a courtier beggarly, nor could come betwixt too early and too late for any suit of pounds, and you, oh, fate, a very fresh fish here, fie upon it. This compelled fortune have your mouth filled up before you open it.
This is strange to me.
How tastes it? Is it bitter? 40 pence, no. There was a lady once, 'tis an old story, that would not be a queen, that would she not, for all the mud in Egypt. Have you heard it?
You are pleasant.
With your theme I could o'ermount the lark, the Marchioness of Pembroke, 1,000 pounds a year for pure respect, no other obligation. By my life, that promises more thousand. Honor's train is longer than his foreskirt. By this time, I know your back will bear a duchess. Say, are you not stronger than you were?
Good lady, make yourself mirth with your particular fancy and leave me out on't. Would I had no being if this salute my blood a jot. It faints me to think what follows. The queen is comfortless, and we forgetful in our long absence. Pray, do not deliver what here you've heard to her.
What do you think me?
Act 2, Scene 4. Blackfriars, an ecclesiastical court. Enter the king, Cardinal Wolsey, Cardinal Campeius, the Bishop of London, with other bishops and officers of the court, followed by the queen, her gentleman usher, a scribe, and a crier.
Whilst our commission from Rome is read, let silence be commanded.
What's the need? It hath already publicly been read, and on all sides the authority allowed. You may then spare that time.
Be so. Proceed.
Say, Henry, King of England, come into the court.
Henry, King of England, come into the court.
Here.
Say, Catherine, Queen of England, come into the court.
Catherine, Queen of England, come into the court.
Sir, I desire you do me right and justice, and to bestow your pity on me, for I am a most poor woman and a stranger, born out of your dominions, having here no judge indifferent, nor no more assurance of equal friendship and proceeding. Alas, sir, in what have I offended you? What cause hath my behavior given to your displeasure, that thus you should proceed to put me off and take your good grace from me? Heaven witness, I have been to you a true and humble wife, at all times to your will conformable, ever in fear to kindle your dislike, yea, subject to your countenance, glad or sorry, as I saw it inclined. When was the hour I ever contradicted your desire, or made it not mine too? Or which of your friends have I not strove to love, although I knew he were mine enemy? What friend of mine that had to him derived your anger did I continue in my liking? Nay, give notice, he was from thence discharged, sir. Call to mind that I have been your wife in this obedience upward of 20 years, and have been blessed with many children by you. If in the course and process of this time you can report and prove it too against mine honor aught, my bond to wedlock, or my love and duty against your sacred person, in God's name, turn me away, and let the foulest contempt shut door upon me, and so give me up to the sharpest kind of justice. Please you, sir, the king your father was reputed for a prince most prudent, of an excellent and unmatched wit and judgment. Ferdinand, My father, King of Spain, was reckoned one, the wisest prince that there had reigned by many a year before. It is not to be questioned that they had gathered a wise council to them of every realm that did debate this business, who deemed our marriage lawful. Wherefore I humbly beseech you, sir, to spare me till I may be by my friends in Spain advised, whose counsel I will implore, if not in the name of God, your pleasure be fulfilled.
You have here, lady, and of your choice, these reverend fathers, men of singular integrity and learning, yea, the elect of the land, who are assembled to plead your cause. It shall therefore be bootless that longer you desire the court, as well as for your own quiet, as to rectify what is unsettled in the king.
His grace hath spoken well and justly. Therefore, madam, it's fit this royal session do proceed, and without delay their arguments be now produced and heard.
Lord Cardinal, to you I speak.
Your pleasure, madam.
Sir, I am about to weep, but thinking that we are a queen, or long have dreamed so, certain the daughter of a king, my drops of tears I'll turn to sparks of fire.
Be patient yet.
I will when you are humble, nay, before, or God will punish me. I do believe, induced by potent circumstances, that you are mine enemy, and make my challenge, you shall not be my judge. For it is you have blown this coal betwixt my lord and me, which gods do quench. Therefore I say again, I utterly abhor, yea, from my soul refuse you for my judge, whom yet once more I hold my most malicious foe, and think not at all a friend to truth.
I do profess you speak not like yourself, whoever yet have stood to charity and displayed the effects of disposition gentle and of wisdom o'ertopping woman's power. Madam, you do me wrong. I have no spleen against you, nor injustice for you or any. How far I have proceeded, or how far further shall, is warranted by a commission from the consistory, yea, the whole consistory of Rome. You charge me that I have blown this coal. I do deny it. The king is present. If it be known to him that I gainsay my deed, how may he wound, and worthily, my falsehood, yea, as much as you have done my truth? If he knows that I am free of your report, he knows I am not of your wrong. Therefore in him it lies to cure me, and the cure is to remove these thoughts from you, the which before his highness shall speak in, I do beseech you, gracious madam, to unthink your speaking, and to say so no more.
My lord, I am a simple woman, much too weak to oppose your cunning. Your meek and humble mouthed. You sign your place and calling in full seeming with meekness and humility, but your heart is crammed with arrogancy, spleen, and pride. You have by fortune and his highness favors gone slightly o'er low steps, and now are mounted where powers are your retainers, and your words, domestics to you, serve your will as please. Yourself pronounce their office. I must tell you, you tender more your person's honor than your high profession spiritual. That again, I do refuse you for my judge, and here, before you all, appeal unto the Pope to bring my whole cause for his holiness and to be judged by him.
The queen is obstinate, stubborn to justice, apt to accuse it, and disdainful to be tried by it. 'Tis not well. She's going away.
Call her again.
Catherine, Queen of England, come into the court.
Madam, you are called back.
What need you note it? Pray you keep your way. When you are called, return. Now the Lord help. He vexed me past my patience. Pray you pass on. I will not tarry, no, nor evermore upon this business my appearance make in any of their courts.
Go thy ways, Kate. That man in the world who shall report he has a better wife, let him in naught be trusted for speaking false in that. Thou art alone. If thy rare qualities, sweet gentleness, thy meekness, saint-like, wife-like government, obeying in commanding, and thy part sovereign and pious else, could speak thee out. The queen of earthly queens. She's noble born, and like her true nobility, she has carried herself towards me.
Gracious sir, in humblest manner I require your highness that it shall please you to declare in hearing of all these ears, for where I am robbed and bound, there must I be unloosed, although not there at once and fully satisfied, whether ever I did broach this business to your highness, or laid any scruple in your way which might induce you to the question on't, or ever have to you with thanks to God for such a royal lady, spake one the least word that might be to the prejudice of her present state, or touch of her good person.
My lord cardinal, I do excuse you. Yea, upon my honour, I free you from't. You are not to be taught that you have many enemies that know not why they are so, but, like to village curs, bark when their fellows do. By some of these the queen is put in anger. You're excused. But will you be more justified? You ever have wished the sleeping of this business, never desired it to be stirred, but oft have hindered, the passages made toward it. On my honour, I speak, my good Lord Cardinal, to this point, and thus far clear him. Now, what moved me to it? I will be bold with time and your attention. Then mark the inducement. Thus it came. Give heed to it. My conscience first received a tenderness, scruple, and prick on certain speeches uttered by the Bishop of Bayonne, the then French ambassador, who had been hither sent on the debating a marriage twixt the Duke of Orleans and daughter Mary. In the progress of this business, ere a determinate resolution, he, I mean the bishop, did require a respite wherein he might the king his lord advertise whether our daughter were legitimate, respecting this our marriage with the dowager, sometimes our brother's wife. This respite shook the bosom of my conscience, entered me, yea, with a spitting power, and made to tremble the region of my breast, which for such way that many mazed considerings did throng and pressed in with this caution. At first, methought I stood not in the smile of heaven, who had commanded nature that my lady's womb, if it conceived a male child by me, should do no more offices of life to it than the grave does to the dead, for her male issue or died where they were made, or shortly after this world had aired them. Hence, I took a thought that was a judgment on me, that my kingdom, well worthy the best heir of the world, should not be gladded in't by me. Then follows that I weighed the danger which my realm stood in, by this my issues fail, and that gave to me many a groaning throe. Thus, hulling in the wild sea of my conscience, I did steer toward this remedy whereupon we are now present here together. That's to say, I meant to rectify my conscience, which I then did feel full sick, and yet not well, and by all the reverend fathers of the land and doctors learned. First, I began in private with you, my Lord of Lincoln. You remember how under my impression I did reek when I first moved you?
Very well, my liege.
I have spoke long. Be pleased yourself to say how far you satisfied me.
So please your highness. The question did at first so stagger me, bearing a state of mighty moment in it, and consequence of dread, that I committed the daringest counsel which I had to doubt, and did entreat your highness to this course which you are running here.
I then moved you, my Lord of Canterbury, and got your leave to make this present summons. Unsolicited, I let no reverend person in this court, but by particular consent proceeded under your hands and seals. Therefore, go on. For no dislike of the world against the person of the good queen, but the sharp thorny points of my alleged reasons drives this forward. Prove but our marriage lawful. By my life and kingly dignity, we are contented to wear our mortal state to come with her, Catherine, our queen, before the primest creature that paragoned of the world.
So please your highness, the queen being absent, 'tis a needful fitness that we adjourn this court till further day. Meanwhile must be an earnest motion made to the queen to call back her appeal she intends upon his holiness.
I may perceive these cardinals trifle with me. I abhor this dilatory sloth and tricks of Rome. My learned and well-beloved servant Cranmer, prithee return. With thy approach, I know my comfort comes along. Break up the court, I say. Set on.